Hello, we are reading in the Writings of Rash Volume 2, page 387 concerning the study material. Is on and you can send questions live through the sites. Anyone asking a question in the study hall should stand up, hold the microphone close to his mouth and speak loudly and clearly. Concerning is written in the Holy Zohar. Concerning why was he not called Abraham? Thus far, we explained that thus far he was not circumcised, and now he has been circumcised. Once he was circumcised, he connected with the He, which is the divinity, and the was in him. This is why now he is called Abraham. With a He it is written, these are the generations of the heaven and the earth. When they were created, we learned that he created them with the He, and we learned in Abraham, meaning that Beam, when they were created, has the letters of Abraham in our Abraham. This means that the world was created for Abraham. He asks, what are they saying? That is why are they disputed in interpreting. Babe, he replies, it is when he says that applies Abraham who is and the world which is. There was created. For this is why he says that he created them with the He, meaning one does not dispute the other, because everything comes down together at is if there is in the world is in the world as well, and vice versa. Hence the two meanings and are one thing, and the world was created for. And further, we should understand why he interprets that means which is, meaning that the world was created. For we should understand the matter of is this not something that concerns only what is between man and man? Did the Creator create the upper world, the world of the angels and the Sarim, only so that each one will deal with mercy with one's friends, so that deal with mercy with Shimon? What will the Creator get out of this? Can such a thing be said? Accordingly, we must understand what is, as he said that the world was created. For it is known that the purpose of creation is to do good to his creations. Therefore, we should ask why are there two explanations about the verse. These are the generations of the heaven when they were created, one because of the and the other because of Abraham who is. We should say that from the verse when they were created, they explain only how to achieve the goal called to do good to his creations. This means that the creatures must attain the complete delight and pleasure, that is when they receive delight and pleasure they should not feel any unpleasantness called the bread of shame. To correct this there was time, which is a concealment on the delight and pleasure. It is as the Holy Ar says, know that before the emanations were emanated and the creatures created, an upper simple light filled the whole of reality, and there was no vacant place when it came into his simple will to create their worlds, to bring to light the perfection of his deeds. Then restricted himself. It follows that the concealment we see on spirituality, meaning although we should believe that the whole earth is full of his glory, all the creatures in the world felt the glory of the Creator, who would want to engage in lowly things when they see the importance of the glory of spirituality. After all, a person can receive an image of what he had in the past. If, for example, a person imagines that the most important period he had was when he felt that it was worthwhile to adhere to spirituality, and he looked at himself and the entire world, how time passes aimlessly and pointlessly and engages only in trivialities, then when he is high-spirited, the world seemed to him like little children playing with toys. Similarly, we sometimes see a little child taking a rope, putting it on another's shoulder and telling him, you be the horse and I'll pull the reins. They both enjoy this game, and if we tell the children, why are you playing with false things? You're not a wagon driver and he is not a horse. They will not understand what we are telling them. When a person depicts the time when he had the most important state in life, he looked at how people engage only in corporality as a grown-up looking at little children playing. It follows that all we need so we can engage in. Tone is the revelation that is to reveal the delight and pleasure hidden in them, so we will see them openly. Then who would not want delight and pleasure? Who would be able to degrade himself and walk into a hen house and packing the trash like them and be happy and joyful about it when he can enjoy the life of a human that is his sustenance would be what delights people and not what delights beasts and animals, and all this is said when he feels the difference between the vitality of people and the vitality of beasts, animals, and fowls, but during the concealment when he does not see any other life in the world, but that the one that he enjoys is the vitality of the whole world when he looks at other people, relinquishing corporeal matters in search for spiritual life. They look at them as foolish, mindless children. Little children are allowed to play with important things, and they throw them away and take meaningless things instead. While they can enjoy corporeal things, they throw them away and contemplate attaining spiritual possessions. To them the spiritual matters are meaningless, meaning things that have no value, but it is all because of their concealment on spirituality. Now we will explain the two interpretations of their word when they were created, where the first means and the second means. We ask, is it worthwhile to create the next world and this world for us? We explained above, according to the purpose of creation, which is to do good to his creations, the delight and pleasure cannot be revealed before they can receive in order to bestow. Therefore it is impossible to achieve the goal in full. This is why we need to explain what is said about be, meaning that through them they will fulfill the purpose of creation, and without them it is impossible to achieve the purpose of creation in full. This is why interpreting that in Abraham is that by means that by engaging in the quality of they can achieve the quality of bestow, after which they will be able to receive their pleasure, and that reception will be regarded as bestow. It is as he says in the where he brings the words of our sages upon the creation of the world, when he said to the angels, let us make man in our image, said let him be created, for he does mercy. Truth said let him not be created, for he is all lies. He interprets the words of our sages that said let him be created, but said let him be created because he does mercy, since the mitzvah to do good that he does is necessarily a clear act of bestow, by which he will gradually become corrected until he can engage in all the in order to bestow. He is guaranteed to finally achieve his goal of engaging lishma. This is why argued that he should be created. It follows that saying means that is needed only as a means, but not as a goal, as it is known that the purpose of creation is to do good to his creations. Rather it is cancels how the creatures can receive the goal, meaning be able to receive the delight and pleasure, because there must be equivalence of form between the giver and the receiver, and since they are opposite in form, they will never be able to receive the delight and pleasure. This is why one is saying that the means is way through the quality of that each does with the other, they will be rewarded with vessels of bestow and be able to receive the delight and pleasure. And another says that it is meaning created them, namely that this does not mean that he disputes him, but war what he when he says that he created them with a he, it means that mal, which is the is implied here in meaning a small, the holy interprets this is the meaning of created them with a he, since all the creatures were five both in and in. This is the meaning of the small he, but of after she was diminished at the end of her. Said he interprets there that the world of Tan called emerged from another mal that was mitigated by the quality of mercy called Simam, bet second restriction, where there was diminution in. This is why mal is called small he. This means that the in is interpreted to refer to the who received correction called the Association of the quality of mercy with judgment. This means that Mal called the quality of judgment is the root of the creatures, namely the will to receive the CLE that must receive the purpose of creation to benefit his creations, and is the vessel of reception for the delight and pleasure that is the substance of the creatures, meaning the desire to receive delight and pleasure from him due to the correction of equivalence. The form there was a rule that this vessel, the reception, must not be used unless it can aim to bestow. This is called restriction and judgment. The world cannot exist without this correction called receiving in order to bestow, or there is no disclosure of abundance to the lower ones due to the tsum and judgment that was made for the purpose of correcting the world. However, how is it possible to change the nature of creation, which is reception, into one of bestow? Therefore, to be able to correct the vessels of reception to work in order to bestow, there had to be a correction called association of the quality of mercy with judgment, known a second restriction. This means that being the quality of mercy called theo mingled with mal, which is reception, through that merger of mercy with judgment that is done by the remedy of tea, and we can achieve the abundance although it is against our nature. This matter is presented in preface to the wisdom of Kabul. This is the meaning of our sages' words. In the beginning he contemplated creating the world with the quality of deen judgment. He saw that the world does not exist and preceded the quality of and associated it with the quality of do. She saw that the world does not exist means that in this way it was impossible for man, who was to be created from this, to assume acts of bestow. Therefore he preceded the quality of and associated it with the quality of death. Through this association, quality of judgment was incorporated with sparks of bestow in the CLE of. According to the above said, it follows that we have the means by which to achieve the purpose of creation, to do good to his creations only thanks to the small hey. This is because the judgment in the har, which is the quality of judgment, diminished into the quality of mercy. This means that part of the desire to receive diminished and received into it the quality of mercy of, as was said above, that in the roots the vessels of reception included the quality of. By this we will understand why the Holy Zohar concludes that one does not dispute the other, because everything comes down together. That is, if there is in the world is in the world as well, and vice versa, and the world was created for and for the. This implies that it means that both, meaning the quality of and the which was corrected with the quality of, aim for the same thing, that through them the creatures would achieve the purpose of creation, which is to delight his creatures. This is why he says, if there is there is no that is without the correction of in the world, where through the quality of they can receive in order to there would not be the. That is the correction that was done in mal, called the association of the of mercy with judgment, would not help. However, the quality of does exist in the world, meaning that mal was corrected with the quality of which is, and this helps to achieve the goal. However, we should understand why mal is called said that the holy, says he, if she is this, means that where the Creator is revealed, it is called. This is called instilling of being, that there the Creator is revealed. For this reason one should always pray to be rewarded with the kingdom of heaven, also known as faith. That is, one should pray that he will be rewarded with faith. But there is a question: if he knows that he lacks faith in the Creator, then to whom is he praying? For only when he believes in the Creator can it be said that he's asking the Creator to give him what he wants. We can interpret this according to what is written in the introduction to the study of the 10. He whose Torah is his trade, the measure of his faith is apparent in his practice of Torah, because the letters of his trade are the same in Hebrew as in his faith. It is like a person who trusts his friend and lends him money, he may trust him with £1, and if he asks for £2, he will refuse to lend him. He might also trust him with £100, but not more. Also, he might trust him enough to lend him half his property, but not all his property. Finally, he may trust him with all his property without a hint of fear. This last faith is considered whole faith, and the previous forms are considered incomplete faith. Rather, it is partial faith, whether more or less. Thus we see that there is partial faith when he has partial faith. It can be said that a person should pray to the Creator to help him, since he is only part faith, so he wants the Creator to help him achieve complete faith, and since it is impossible to be awarded complete faith before one is rewarded with equivalence form, as said in the previous articles and presented in the introduction of the book of Soar, hence there are those corrections as written above concerning 1 through the quality of they will achieve equivalence of form, which is regarded as Abraham 2. He says that he is he, meaning that is received into her the quality of by which they will come into bestow, and then the purpose of creation to do good to his creations will come true. Thank you to the reader. Chot. Questions. Ken. Yes, he tells us about what kind of fear. What does it mean that part of the will to receive is diminished and accept the quality of? He says that with that action we can come to the purpose of creation, that part of the will to receive through the upper influence or bestow, it can be corrected to be in order to bestow, and this is similar to initially being in bestow. To that extent, person begins to understand what are the qualities of the Creator, what are the issue of the Creator, the goal, the purpose. Again, yes, I want to continue the question, how does he know what part he can work with now? Because only in him, with the association of the quality of mercy with judgment, then the vessels are being clarified. So how does he know what to work with? He doesn't know. He tries and discovers that there are such desires in him that are impressed by the act of bestow, and these desires, through them he can come closer to the Creator. So from the experience he clarifies the association of, and yes, of course, yes, how to work in mercy among the friends in the try to look at the friends and see how we can help them, assist them, and this is how we work, and this kind of attitude causes what to connect. It is a good example of the manner of connection between the friends, and that they have a common tendency, a common vessel by which they can become similar to the Creator to bestow. This is the action of towards the friends, and there is also mercy from the 10 towards the Creator, the fact that we in general perform actions in order to bring contentment to the Creator. This too is what's the difference between both translate as mercy, which are translated as mercy. They are vessels of reception that exist to begin with. There are no vessels of bestow, there are only vessels of reception. So if we reveal vessels with which it is possible to work in order to bestow, then we draw on them more light influence from above, and this way work with them, advance with them. Through them we can already shine for the rest of their I understand what is the same is the general name, and is the particular specific name for certain issue, a matter that's it. So what are we doing next? Oh wait, there's another question. Yes, thank you, he writes. Here therefore he interpret this in meaning that by engaging in the quality of they can come to the quality of by which they can then receive the pleasure, and that reception will be called bestow. How does it transform? It depends what level of coarseness the quality of mercy is on. Can you elaborate? How do we clothe onto each other? It's not one on top of the other. It is when a person has vessels that are will to receive, and with this will to receive he can work to correct his vessels, so it will be above the vessels which want to receive, but he closes them, doesn't use Then he comes to bestowing in order to bestow, and then gradually to receiving in order to bestow, where does the initial will to receive disappear? It doesn't disappear, it's simply that above it, on top of it, we build the vessels. They're not even vessels, they are acts of bestow. So I'll try another question. How do we maintain the importance of this work to not lose it, because it is similar to the Creator, and to the extent that we can perform some operations of bestow, by this we make ourselves similar to the Creator, and by this we feel spiritual elevation nearing the Creator. Now it's a question that man does with the system, the 10, or it's something that the 10 can also inspire on the person. There are both kinds. We can do both this and that depending on the situation. We're in a person with a big amount of coarseness right now. How can the 10 give him the strength to use the coarseness correctly? 10 should, to each person who is in the 10 should, if him as much strength as possible. Examples to pull him toward acts of bestow. There's like a mechanism that I find hard to go through. Here ultimately you fall to being the one. Sees people like little kids who engage in trivialities, but it's not it's the most important thing this game that the 10 is doing on me now. It's trying to give me strength and its influence on me so that I can work with it. It's the most important person thing for person. How do I use it correctly? Take it and work with it, and not look at it like once again they're dealing with nonsensical things. First all you see that it's coming from the fr, so it's already not nonsense. This is number 1. Number 2, you see how much they are performing acts of best, and they want you to join them. These acts of bestow, but you are still not ready. You're not inspired by their examples. When I'm with them, I'm really inspired. I feel the greatness. When I move away a bit into life, it's lost. Yes, it's in everyone. So how do I bridge the short in this gap and maintain? You make sure you don't lose the connection. You always want to be under their influence. We'll try. Thank you. Yes, continue the scrutiny in the 10. We work on the connection between us, and we aspire to be one as one man in one heart. This is where is as clear is understood. But what is the mal in this one man that we build? Because everyone is very different and has his own. It doesn't matter actually the more different they are, but they're trying to perform the same action. By this they come even closer and connect, so it feels like there's some common area. But where is the uniqueness of each one, and where can we further increase from each one's uniqueness? That common space between us to the extent of his bestow to the Creator, there is where his uniqueness is clarified. How so? Each one needs to best still more to the Creator, or it becomes more a cooperation. Yes, more in cooperation between you. All of you want to reach the same goal, so you come closer to each other. Then each one's qualities can enter the common area, the shared space. You are depicting it pretty corporeal. It doesn't work this way. The fact that we can think about one thing and perform similar actions, this already brings us closer. But so we never touch each other. It's always each other. We do touch each other, but on a higher level. Yes, name of the article is concerning what is when one does good to another and does not demand anything in return for it, and what is best bestow is an action. There is an act of whose essence is to doid with the other. Ken. Yes, in the 10, we the article 40 on Friday, and try to clarify what actions of a friend by me, and what actions of me by the friend, and we saw a very wide spectrum. Some a friend said, if you touch me you kill me, don't touch me, give me space. Another friend says, if you don't hug me, if you don't touch me, I feel rejected. And you told the friend that we touch each other on a higher level to talk about that. What is that higher level? In not where we are now, but in, and all these contradictions there can help us build a new CLE. Yes, of course there we rise above the differences. The opposite, the differences are only in our will desires to receive. If we rise above them and connect, and that's it, we've achieved Correction in order to reach bestow to. Achieve bestow to each other in this world when we come to connect. Do we need to somewhat also take each friend's psychology into account? No, we don't know that by being directed seemingly toward the same goal, the same operations. Incorporation equivalence connection by this we already correct because we have this goal. He calls the incorporation of we want this to dwell between us. Yes, thank you. He talks in the article about partial faith. He asks the question, if one knows he lacks faith in the Creator, how does he pray? To whom does he pray? And then he gives an example like in the introduction to test that if you believe a faith over $1 to can a person know what is his level of faith to weigh it this way? Know what does it mean to the extent of his a faith were artistry? How do you measure that to the extent that he can as much as he can relinquish the will to receive and rise to the quality of this dire, but there's always some limit. Well, for now we have no way to precisely measure our vessels in complete faith. What is the level of devotion of the person to the 10 in complete faith? I don't know, because he says that's what we need to aspire to reach complete faith. Fine, but aspire, I don't know what complete faith is. You need to reveal all of the will to receive in you, rise above it, adhere to the degree of being, degree of bestow, because Mal rises to on all your vessels, and then you can be certain that you are in complete. But what does mean all the vessels? Basically, what appears now and then accordingly. No, but you cannot say that it's all of your vessels. You haven't reached the end of correction. You haven't reached the correction. Will Mal rises to Bainer to all of Beiner. So now to the point of complete faith. Until we come to complete faith, the attitude to the 10, how can you make it so that it's always more and more devotedly? This is why you're given all kinds of opportunities where you have to unfold yourself before the 10 in all kinds of opportunities, and then it always appears that there's a limit, that you can't do it completely. You try, you need to try. And what's the difference between yesterday's attempt and today's attempt? Today it seems to you like it's more, and if it seems is less, it's not good. You need to pray more to get stronger with her friends. So that's basically our measurement or proportion to measure this for. Now R gives the example about kids playing. One is the driver owns the horse, and for them it's completely real. If you try to tell them something, they won't understand you. Yes, now it seems like when kids grow up they lose this ability to imagine. First of all, why do we lose it? We get smarter, we play it. I see this as my friend and not as a force. We can play with respect to spirituality, and in that way try how toward spirituality. By all means, you have friends, give them in all kinds of ways upon them, to exaggerate it, but I'll tell the friend you are, and know what's the game. No, this is, and you play at bestowing upon each other, helping each other, supporting each other and everyone toward everyone, until you depict yourself, you imagine yourself as being in one vessel, in one system. You said that what stops us from playing is that we see that it's not so. We grow up, we become wise, play at it, and you'll see to what extent it's possible. Maybe you'll get new insights through it. Actually, spiritual ones. He describes two states here. He says when there's a spiritual feeling, we look at corporeal things like toys and don't understand how to enjoy it even. Yes, but when there's concealment, we look at spiritual matters in that way. And corporeality seems important. Yes, so it seems like it's coming from above. Either you have a feeling that comes from above or you're under concealment. So can we also create a feeling on our own rather than it coming from above through prayer, through yearning for it? I'm asking whether through play we can get but through playing to try playing or acting. It's like a prayer. You want to be this way, you want to enjoy this, you want to depict to yourself, to imagine that you're like that. It's a kind of prayer. So to summarize, to play well, we have to really believe in the game, yet to want to see it is when you read a prayer. Book that too is a kind of playing or exercise. They are all psychological. Exercises can okay. Yes, thank you, I want to. Continue. The question about the work between us. In a tense during the day, some examples between us, actions between us, are very important. It seems that the emphasizes the examples give each other about the importance of the Creator, the importance of the path towards bestow and love. We can depict this picture we once had, like you said in the beginning of the lesson. What is this this picture that we can imagine to ourselves thanks to these examples, and seeing the wholeness and the connection between us more and more. Whatever you want to imagine, very simple, whatever you want to imagine. Try to imagine it, whatever we do with ourselves in terms of giving examples we raise to our awareness, the upper world, the spiritual world, which is the connection with the Creator now, without fantasies, imaginations. We are playing a certain game with our feelings in order to bring ourselves closer to real spiritual action. So that's the question from this game that we're playing. When do we begin to feel that it's real, that it's not a game? This already depends on the above, the friend support it, and do you really mean it? Try, and we'll talk afterwards. Okay. What question? Thank you very much. How come in direct light, the light of Rim is the light of the purpose of creation, and in reflected light, the light of Rim is the light of the correction of creation. So that's how it is. Thank you very much. Again from women, it is written, therefore, what do we need in order to be able to engage in Torah and commandments, which is only the revelation, meaning that the delight and pleasure are in them that are concealed in them, so we see them openly. What does it mean? That we are lacking the revelation if we try to reach the revelation of the Creator's actions, which are in order to bestow, then we yearn for it, we're drawn to it. Say again what you want to ask concerning what is therefore lacking in order to be able to engage in Torah and commandments is only the revelation, meaning that the delight and pleasure that are concealed in them will be revealed to us, and we will see them openly. So what does it mean that we're lacking there? Revelation, lacking revelation, meaning that it comes from the Creator. This is the CLE, and lacking revelation, which means the light that's in the CLE by which we rise to the same degree, and thus we elevate ourselves from P31. How do we give an example to the friends? An example of act. How do we give an example? We set an example in actions that we all do towards each other, right? And so we try to see it that way. This is called taking an example from a society. So what do we do if there's a problem that the FRS are not so inspired by examples? How do we awaken them? There are two things here. One thing is that friends are perhaps not so much discussing and not showing by themselves that their inspiration, that's on the one hand, and on the other hand, those who receive the awakening from them also don't discover that they've received it, because that might be a matter of modesty and shame. So that's not good. We actually need the opposite. The good that we receive from the friends needs to be revealed from. See, they're asking you to elaborate on the difference between partial faith and complete faith. Partial faith is faith over some aspect that appears. Complete faith is unlimited faith over in the full measure of the will to receive that appears in me for now, and I receive their fulfillment, illumination, and I can work from that entire vessel. From 1:21. How does the quality of judgment help a person be rewarded with a quality of mercy? How does the quality of judgment in a person help one attain the quality of mercy? The quality of judgment, Dean, appears to me, reveals to me what vessels are still not corrected, and thus it pushes me to continue making corrections until I reach the complete correction. So you can't do without Judd. From 1. What is the connection between and faith have meaning? Mercy could say that to the extent of that exists in the sea vessel, I can work within the vessel in similarity to the Creator in order to best, meaning that by that the mercy resembles the Power of faith, the power of the Creator. From 4, is there a difference between and charity? No, charity means an action, an action. See, it's an action that works in a specific way on the will to receive. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for now. Yes, thank. It says here person should always pray to be rewarded with the kingdom of heaven, called faith, meaning that a person should pray to be rewarded with faith. But the question is, if he knows that he is lacking faith in the Creator, then to whom is he praying? Because only when he believes in the Creator can it be said that he's asking the Creator to give him the thing he asks of him. So, how do we come out of this situation where we are lacking faith and faith in the Creator? You keep going more and more until you get it from above. Thank you. Okay, so we'll continue. Have Germany. For it is written that because he was circumcised he connected with divinity. The question is, what is the spiritual meaning of circumcision? Circumcision means that he rises above his will to receive that. It even more that one can use the will to receive in order to bestow you. And 1 Holland 1. Good morning, dear. What sort of actions of bull do we need to form the connection between us? Connection between us, that's what we need. And what's the relation to is quality that we attain by nullifying each and everyone's egoistic will to receive and being drawn to connection. Latin 1. How do we shift from compulsory work to working voluntarily out of craftsmanship? In the 10, it depends on what level do we connect. That's the only thing it depends on. I want to connect to the Creator who is all mercy, but I'm afraid of the judgment now because I have this fear. How can I connect to the Creator who is mercy and not with his judgment? To try and open the heart to the fulfillment that comes from the Creator, and that will guard you from receiving the judgment. There are no judgments coming directly from the Creator. Crower. Thank you. What does it mean to be ready to be inspired by the force of the 10? To be prepared and to be influenced by what the power of the 10. So that means that I nullify myself towards the 10. I absorb from them all of their qualities. I want to serve them with all my vessels as much as I can, and then I come to such a connection. How does one who has successfully nullified toward the 10 see and feel the 10? He feels that he's close to them, that he understands them, and they understand him, and there's nothing on his part that separates him and them. Latin 10. To what are the judgments leading us? They're bringing us to the right connection between everyone so that we can connect to the Creator. From that we act, play at connection in the 10. How do we come to a state where we can really draw on ourselves the influence of the letter H so that Malat will rise to Beaner and Beaner will upon Malat? Depends on the extent to which we play with it. Because the game ends when the upper light starts shining, and when it shines on us we begin to assemble to a single spiritual vessel. We're constantly playing it. This we have many external actions. There's no shortage, no deficiency in the game we're playing, but how do we make it so that in the game the spiritual quality will be expressed and our desire will become the by be it happens? You want to do it faster, then make your actions more intensive. Turn become make what more intensive in coming closer to each other, trying to work together in a single desire, a desire that is unified from all of your personal desires, so that you feel all of this inside of you. Can we try to work more intensely in the common desire that's made of our individual desires? Get closer to each other. I can't say anything more nearing is it does it depend on greater inner efforts in the friend. It's natural, of course. That's why these efforts are called getting closer. One must depict himself more of this connection, yes, that he constitutes a part of the friend. Belows. Why, when there's no mercy in the world, there's no what is this? Lad, there's no light. Of if there's no light of in the world, then they cannot come and appear in the world, and then it waits until there's light of ad in the world. The quality of Mercy on part of the created beings in the 10. Can we awaken the light of we in the 10 can do it by the connection between us, by such a mutual inclination between us towards each other, one friend to the other, we can induce a reality where there becomes revealed a phone. 1. Chalam. Hello, the sages of the Talmud said one who is merciful toward cruel ones is cruel toward merciful ones. Now, all kinds of bleeding hearts in the soul in the world are demanding Israel to stop fighting against the ruthless enemy in Gaza and are merciful toward other people in Gaza who are the majority of whom are for the destruction of Israel. Israel does not agree with this approach. Question: did the Creator start a war against us through harmers so we would understand our role as the people of Israel in the war of the good inclination against the evil incarnation? Correct. The Creator demands connection from us, just as it is written here in this article, and if we don't do that, if we don't connect, He will compel us to do it in such a way that those as of people like your saying will operate upon us in a more coarser way. It's all this against that there's nothing we can do about it. The one. Shalom. Thank you, Rob. In the second restriction, we work only with the small vessels. What does it mean about our work in the 10? I didn't understand. In the second restriction, they worked only with the small vessels. They didn't use the big vessels, the big desires. I'm asking, what does it mean about our work in the 10? We don't have any work in the second restriction in the 10 for the time being. PT6. What's the difference? What do you have in connection that you don't have in incorporation? Why? Incorporation is not enough. Connection is connection in all their qualities until there's no differentiation between them, and incorporation is nevertheless according to a measure of adaptation between them. English 1. Yes. Hello dear Arivi. Hello world. CLERs. The ego is growing. This coarseness seems to be getting stronger and stronger. How to work with that work more and more, otherwise we will never be able to overcome the coarseness. And women Spain work towards the connection that way. Spain, where we the judgment, if not directly from the Creator? Where did it come from? Where do you get the judgments from? They don't come directly from the Creator, because He said they can't come directly from Him. Where do they come from? They come from the Creator, but not directly. It's kind of like that, is it, that the existence of the upper world allow each one to do mercy with this friend? I don't understand your question. He says in order each one to be mere his friend, the Creator created the upper worlds. Then he details the angel and cherubs. Why? The fact that there are upper worlds allows me to be merciful with the friends, because the purpose of the upper worlds is for a person to reach adhesion with the Creator through them. We're going to move to the second part of the lesson. We're going to sing a so L to for your ch for pa we reading in the study volume 2 part S item 41, and the words of the item 41. The is the first king to come out, and all 7 were incorporated in him. You already know that the principal raising of man are the vessels that were already born in the world, hence thus far raising man was primarily through that emerged in the world. First, we've already explained that in the beginning there was no need for man to but only the ascension of the desire. When it is written that these 7 kings were man, it does not mean that they drew, and since they have already been extended in the beginning, the evidence for that is that they returned a bar to face, and afterwards placed these 7 kings in Bener. Thus we cannot say that they were man, to though it means that they were placing them in the state of face to through the raising of man once they were already in addition in that state they drew the further, as in the beginning. We shall return to the matter that after the light of dot emerged and entered its vessel, it raised man and drew in AB this is because that consists of, and because the 7 kings were obtained contained I'm sorry in it at that time. For this reason it had the strength to lower and gr. However, since the other kings do not raise man, since the exit was still not to them but to the dot, it is therefore impossible to lower complete M only through zone together. Therefore what that lowered was the phase of and in and upper AB in the place of their dot, resembling him as he does again. 41 of is the first king to come out. All 7 were incorporated in him. You already know that the principal raising of man are the vessels that were already born in the world. Hence thus far raising man was primarily through dot that emerged in the world. First, we have already explained that in the beginning there was no need for man to abate, only the ascension of the desire. And it is written that these 7 kings were man. It does not mean that they grew, and since they have already been extended in the beginning, the evidence of that is that they returned AB to face and afterwards placed these 7 kings in th. We cannot say that they were man to be now, though it means that they were placing them in the state of face to abate through the raising of man once they were already in beiner. In addition, in that state they drew the further as in the beginning, and we shall return to the matter that after the light of that emerged and entered it vessel, it raised man and drew and in. This is because that consists of and because the 7 kings were contained in it at that time. For this reason it had the strength to lower and. However, since the other kings do not raise man, since the exit was still not to them but to the do it, therefore it is therefore impossible to lower complete M only through zone together. Therefore what that lowered was the phases of and in and upper in the place of their dot, resembling him as he does after the light of that emerged and entered its vessel, it raised. And it has already been explained in the previous item that this dot does not imply one of that, rather it is the first expansion of the coupling of entire level of T that came out on the screen of phase 4 of clothing and the coarseness of phase 3 its phase of from below upward. It's called the looking of AB on each other, and there are 10 SB in the level their phase of tastes, meaning the expansion from above downward, called goof, is called the king of that the AR speaks of here. And although there is only a screen of phase 1 here in a bar of, it has been explained in length in part 6 that the bottom he descended from the through a coupling of ab and s and came to its place in the meaning of this is because in AB the bottom he is in its place. Hence when the illumination of ab was drawn there, it lowered the bottom he in him to the place as well, and returned to know that when the bottom he which is pH4 came to its place, it was erected there with a screen as it is in PAB, which is phase 4 of clothing and phase 3 of coarseness. It is because that the illumination of ab that lowered her to the P corrected her with his screen 2, hence the 10 emerged on it in the level of K. However the AR wrote that drew in only, and however according to the above it should have drawn the 10 in the level of and as it drew in. And to understand that we must thoroughly know the matter of coupling face to face of 3 degrees inner have been explained in my words above until the coupling of face 2. Face the first is back to back, mean the state of in the beginning. Second is face 2 face, and the third is face 2 face, and you find that before returned to face they must first be in a state of face 2 back. We've already explained there that the state of face to back came by lowering the bottom hay from time to the, at which time ABA returned to the, and ABA acquires its state of anterior face. However IMA is still in her eye, meaning an extension of light of since she chooses more than by way of because he delights in mercy. However afterward when the man of the phase of zone comes to her root from direct light awakens to impart illumination of H to this zone that rose to her, at that time she must stop her posterior and make a coupling face to face with AB, imparting illumination of to their zone. Now you can understand why the dot draws only, and it is because these man that received from of are the phase of that makes a coupling with a of, because they are zone and must have illumination of they make a coupling with, hence this is the meaning of the dot of AB, say the whole matter of their necessity that Biner must draw illumination of to this man is extended only from the original connection of a Biner of direct light draws illumination often during her emanation of Z of direct light, hence now too she does not receive from Abba, from his, but from his zone, which are actual illumination of light, the zone of direct light, which is in turn the measure that this man awakened her to draw from Ab. Thus the drop of coupling of face to face is not more than the phase of, and which are zone in, meaning in illumination of, but not at all from the self of their light. Thus, and understand and remember that for it is key for all the of. Now you can see that the 5 levels that emerged there emerged here, I'm sorry, in ABA through the refinement of their screen are the of, and they are all not more than the phase of, and it has been explained that the matter of the coupling of ABA face to face came in 2 degrees, which are face to back and face to face. In the beginning AB is corrected in G by L, the bottomy from the 2. The return to the, and this correction is still insufficient for Emma to turn her Annie to because her posterior in the form of because he delights in mercy she craves more than, hence at that time AB stand face to back interior of ABA in the posterior. IMA only afterwards when man of obtains man she returns her anterior, the purpose of correcting the man in the illumination of, and you already know that even now when she makes a coupling face to face with ABA she still does not receive of him more than these man. You also know that the coupling by striking made on the bottom hay that descended to the P elicited on the level of which is the light of hence it is considered that the drop of coupling that came to the man through this coupling face to face is the measure of zone of, since the 10 of are on the level of which is the light of receives from only as much as zone which are man, hence this illumination that she receives is zone of ABA. Know that with respect to zone itself she's complete for him, and this is the end of zone's growth at level that emerged on a coupling of AB face to face on the screen of phase 4 in the which is the level of Z is considered that of a mass, since she's the principal element that copulates them, and it is not more than the in it are in the form of 5, and the in it is the form of 5. All this is the phase of meaning, the T that came out from below upward, afterwards they descend and clothe the goof from above downward, meaning in the full amount that they clothed in. The CL in the goof are called the king of that. This is the first expansion of the, and it is the state of taste of N of that broke phase 4 was refined in the to phase 3. It means that the bottom hay rose from the place of the P to the place of, and the coupling of the screen of phase 3 emerged drew the level of 10 up to, and the level of disappeared from ABA. For this reason it is now called goof of ABA. Thus you now find that when Bina makes a coupling which she draws only zone of, since the 5 and 5 do not receive the light from ABA, now since the light of has disappeared from ABA, instead they receive the level of which is the measure of zone of. For this reason it is considered that 5 and 5 grow are the man and zone descended now from the phase of Ab, which is to the goof of Ab, which is also their expansion from above downward into the phase of goof, is called the king of, which is the phase of zone of in the light. When the king of broke phase 3 in, there was refined into phase 2 rose to the own, and 10 on the level of fina emerged, the level of disappeared, and it is considered that the 5 and 5 descended into the goof of Iam, which is the level of fina. Now they receive only the measure of zone of Biner, and the expansion of the 10 from above downward from this level is called the king of which is zone of in illumination, of similarly after the king of broke was refined from phase 2 to phase 1 and tenths f of the level of the and pin emerged from below. Upward this is considered that the 5 and 5 merged to the phase of and it expanded into a state of goof in the upper third of king of tet from above downward, and it is the pH of now. We have thoroughly explained how all 5 phases of are only and even they in them of this only, but the illumination that it receives from earth is the illumination it receives from the illumination that it receives from, as he says, after the light of that emerged and entered its vessel it raised. This is because the dot consists of and it means that in the meaning the man that received from has only, and because I am drew for it only, illumination from it is similar to the illumination that there is in zon of Abba itself from the light of OFA. For this reason it does not have more than and illumination of has only what expands to it from where it has also been explained that this king of D is the first expansion of the world of Nikim called tastes, where all the levels below it are contained in it and are only a state of dimin from its level. He says, and because the 7 kings were contained in it at that time, for this reason it had the strength to lower. This is because the greater part of the entirety of the and was extended by the man of, and because of it returned to a coupling face to face, hence even after it expanded from above downward to its place to the goof to the king of D, it is considered the cause for ABA to draw the coupling face to face. It is so because IMA cannot return to her state of posterior, so that the illumination of in it will not be aimed, hence the king of Do too is regarded as man and the cause of the sustenance and positioning of Abba face to face. Yet the king of Do broke and face 4 was refined. The entire coupling of ABA IMA face to face was not provoked instantaneously, because there the coarseness of phase 3 still remained. In the screen it is known that the upper light makes a coupling with the screen also during its gradual refinement. By this it elicits the rest of the levels to the 3 kings and the upper third of. For this reason the entire state of face to face was not lost from ABA, but only their level of called the looking of the buff. However, the phase of face to face of the level of which emerges on phase 3 of the screen and does not belong to the level of Do still remains in it. He writes, since the other kings do not rise, man, since the exit was still not to them but to the etc. Therefore what that lowered was the phase of and I'm sorry and in and upper in the place of their dot, resembling him as he does. It means that the state of face to face was not entirely cancelled, only the level that is attributed to the dot resembling him as he does, yet face to face attributed to the other king still remained in AB, since they have not come out yet. That's where we finished item 41. Today he writes about it. He doesn't spare a little more and a little bit more. Look at going to the next part. We're going to move to the next part of their lesson. We're reading from the writings of Balaam, the article, the forward to the book of Zohar, and we're in item 24. Let me give you an example from the conduct of this world. A person wants to build a nice house. In the first thought, he sees before him an elegant house with all its rooms and details as it will be when its building is finished. Afterward, he designs all the details of the plan of execution. In due time, he will explain every detail to the workers, the wood, the bricks, the iron, and so on. Then he begins the actual building of the house to its completion as it was arranged before him in the preliminary thought. No, that pertains to that first thought in which the whole of creation was already pictured before him in its utter completeness. However, the lesson is not quite like the example, because in him the future and the present are there same. In him the thought completes, and he does not need tools of action as do we. Hence in him it is actual. Reality, the world of, is like the details of the thought out plan that will later need to manifest. When the building of the house actually begins, know that in these, the preliminary thought which is ins and the contemplated design of the details of execution in due time, there is still not even a trace of their creatures, since this is still in potential, not in actual fact. It is likewise in humans, even though they calculate all the details, the wood, the bricks, and the metal that will be required for carrying out the plan. It is essentially a mere conceptual matter. There's not even a trace of any actual wood or bricks in it. The only difference is that in a person, their contemplated design is not regarded as an actual reality, but in the godly thought it is a far more actual reality than the actual real creatures. We have explained the meaning of ins and the world of what that all that is said about them is only with respect to the creation of their creatures. However, they are still in potential and their essence has not been revealed at all, as with our allegory about the person who designed the blueprint, which does not contain any wood or bricks or metal. Yes, 25, that's clear. Item 25, a little more likely the three worlds be and this world are considered the execution from potential to actual, such as one who builds one's house in practice and brings the wood, bricks and workers until the house is completed. The godliness that shines in be close the 10 vessels to the extent that the souls should receive in order to reach their completions. These are real vessels with respect to his godliness, meaning they are not godliness, but are generated for their souls. Is that case clear? How are thought and action merged together? They merge. You see, you don't see. He says that the light that illuminates, and even before they even talk about the illuminations, in a state of disconnect between the spiritual world and the corporeal world, he also says that the corporeal reality does not exist in him, in his reality in the matter of thought and action. Therefore there needs to be a means of some sort. No, so how do we start to work with them together in the thought of creation, his best on everything that's happening? Yes, he gives an allegory of a person who wants to build a house. He first contemplates having a house, then a plan of how it's going to be, and then he executes. So what's the what do we learn from this X? What's the example telling us? The moral is that the creator had the thought and the plan. From the thought came the plan, from the plan come out all the actions which are executed before us. And he says that in the creator there isn't actually a difference between all those things in one thought. Everything was created, so it's not clear the moral here of this story. No are we participating in the participating? No, but the fact that we are in it, yes, we're part of it. What does it mean to be in this, but not participating in it? I don't know. You go up there and asking in these two stages, it's clear that we're not partners in it, and it's in the implementation. Are we partners in that to some extent? In what? In the fact that we understand the part of it. Understand, yes, that's our participation. To understand, yes, what do we understand? Something. I'm saying it seriously. Things that we can't explain accurately. They say we learn, we know you from your actions. So what does it mean to that? Where you can say as many sentences as you want, but it won't help you out here. We simply need to agree with creation the way it is and try to anal before it until it's revealed. Maybe last question, because we're learning that we have to resemble the actions of the creator, and I can bring many lines like that. We talked in the beginning of lesson about playing, and so we have some kind of participation like little children according to my understanding. No, thank you in the creator. The thought is enough, and with it he completes everything. Why the whole creation is the thought of creation. It's the thought of the creator. He doesn't need anything else besides that thought, but in order to bring us to perceive him, to recognize him, the conscious of him, he expands creation into such dimensions where we exist, and seemingly we reach him. Why is it needed for us, the creatures? The thought is not sufficient, but we have to have an action as well. And altogether, what is that gap between thought that we are clear in and the action that we created with? First off, all he explains to us that on the level of chess, phase 4 and 3 we're still in the upper light, and we are there in the final attention, not that it's final, but the one that will be revealed in the end, the degree of finer and below. If there is already a division between the thought of creation, the creator, and his actions is the reason or the cause or final result from this division. The creator wants to give us a place of workplace where we can see ourselves, feel ourselves, and rise to him with our own strength, and that's we have a desire to receive on the levels of 3, 2, and 1, where we exist by our own strength. Thank you. Can are the souls only in the worlds of bear? Yes. Do they attain the light that's in art only according to what illuminates them in bear? No, the souls can rise in practicality to the highest degree. Thank you. Said again, to continue the scrutiny is there some kind of execution without the participation of the creatures? Yet can such a state be? Yes. And how is that possible? I mean, everything is included in the thought of creation, and then the thought of creation allows the creatures to participate, or not to participate, but it's not through the actions of the creatures. They don't participate. And if the thought of creation allows for it, then it's with the participation of the created beings. Here, okay, it's WR here that the 3 worlds, bar and this world, are the transition from potential to actual, but we also know there's a difference, an essential difference, between this world and the first spiritual world. The world offers. Why is he defining them together? B and this world against the world is the world where the creator exists in his usual form, meaning the upper light that fills reality, and the 3 world of are disconnected from this ideal, the world of, but still through them we climb to the world or in our world. In the world of AI, there are already such degrees where we are disconnected completely from anything spiritual, meaning, to simplify, we could say the words of bar and this world as one world. Yes. 26. In the above allegory you find how the 3 discernments of one who contemplates building a house are interconnected by way of cause and consequence. The root of them all is the first thought, since no item appears in the planned blueprint except according to the end of the ACT which emerged before him in the preliminary thought. Also, one does not execute anything during the building, but only according to the details arranged before him in the blueprint. Thus, concerning the worlds, you see that there is not a tiny generation in the world that does not extend from the first state of the souls, which are there in their ultimate perfection of the end of correction, as in the end of an act is in the preliminary thought follows that all that will manifest through the end of correction is included there in the beginning. It extends from into the world of, as in the allegory where the blueprint extends from the first thought. Each and every element extends from the world of or to the worlds of B, as in the allegory where all the details stem from the blueprint when they are actually executed during the building of the house. Teach there is not a single tiny item that is generated in this world and does not extend from ends from the first state of the souls. From in it extends to the world of meaning, specifically associated to things, the thing actually being generated in this world. From the world of the generation extends to the 3 worlds be, where the generation appears in actual fact, where it stops being godliness and becomes a creature, and until it extends to the lower one in this world. Understand this thoroughly and compare everything to what is done while building a house for a corporal person, and then you will understand well. It follows that there is no generation in the world which does not extend from its general route, in hand from its specific route, in afterward it travels through be and adopts the form of a creature and then it is made in this world. Okay, we have here comes to us from ends, through all the degrees and eventually from this world we have to climb back to the world of N What's up he opened and said that the allegory is not like the moral because and the creature need another action in order to complete meaning with the creator. The thought completes the action. It's only with respect to the created beings and all these degrees in the middle are arranged for us so we can attain him. So I can't grasp whether if the thought completed everything so seemingly also for that discernment that with the creatures it should have been included in it as well. I didn't understand. We after all say we're included in the thought of creation from beginning to end, from end to the beginning. There's nothing that can be that is not for us that but that we can't change. Okay, now the question. Is the thought completed the action? Why is there a need for the execution of this plan? Necessary, because it speaks of us. The whole plan was for us. Only so, if the thought completes the action in its completeness, it includes also what's upon us. Why it with us it leaves something that we need to attain ourselves from our actions and our experience. Why but you when you're like a child you enjoy discovering new things each time, but also the discernment of me enjoying discovering new things each time is supposed to be included in that thought. Beauty to you also the discerned. And sorry for philosophizing a little bit, but do you feel what has to be revealed? Of course not, but that's the question. It's as if there's something missing in thought that completed everything. Already know it concealed, it conceals from you intentionally a part of itself. Then seemingly it wasn't necessary if it would complete everything, including the discernment of from below upward. Yes, then there would be no need from below upward to be done in practice, because already in the thought no there is perhaps necessity for you to invest energy, effort, and through your investment, through your effort, you will open up for yourself a special process that exists in creation, which is his desire to benefit his creatures, where without it it will not be revealed toward you. Need to reveal what the Creator did, how he intentionally corrupted everything. It's all intentionally arranged for you, and the end of the action is in the initial thought, where he thought about all of his actions, all the actions that you will have to go through, so that this will ultimately give you true pleasure, adhesion in him, where you will discover him, reveal him from beginning to end, from the end to the beginning, and in this way be adhered to all his thoughts and desires. And I guess there is something here that we cannot understand and articulate, but he calls it a generation or innovation, the deeds that we're supposed to do. Yes, how can there be a generation if in the beginning of the plan it's all inscribed, the whole plan is written. So also all the stages along the way, relative to the created beings, relative to the created beings, it's all innovation. Generation, can you tell what will be revealed to you in another degree, another moment from now? No? Okay, and another small thing, if possible, he writes that the world of as far that the general attitude, the and the individual in general, and this world versus that world, I would say that what is revealed from the source of the thought of creation onward belongs to the created beings, to the attainment of the created beings, and the created beings who attain all those actions, who ultimately attain the thought of creation, by that come to a state, a place where they understand and feel the thought of creation in its entirety, and that's how they revealed the Creator. What did he want, what did he do, and so on and so forth. It's like when you get to this world, you don't know anything, you don't understand. You're born, you grow up, then you get married, you become similar to your parents, and then you get to a point where you reveal the world. We are also like that. Can souls rise above the world of no, the root is there's no need for it, there's no deficiency, that's where they're corrected, that's their conclusion. Yes, so Why do we need the whole system above the world of to understand it, to feel it, to be incorporated in it? The corrections are performed in the world of, or a light that comes down from the world of to the souls below. The corrections take place in the world of, and they're all incorporated in the world of ought, or that world, and so far the same desire to receive that feels a lack for light receives the light in that same desire. Is it possible for something that seemingly rise to the world of not in the same desire, not in the same desire? No, because the created being that reveals his desire relative to the upper light, he reveals a much bigger vessel, much bigger. He reveals the upper desire. Yes, another desire that's not his yes. And gradually, he performs actions to acquire a desire as his own. He's doing it, he's rising to that same desire. It's like a child who comes to the degrees of Ab, or his father and mother, and he does the same actions, and from your actions we should know you. He recognizes what are his upper ones. Pretty fantastic. It's like a baby understands that his mother travels to the store to get him a pacifier. Know that too. Let's, and the light does that. Such an understanding so high that you attain everything. Okay, be well, go home to rest until tomorrow. Thank you to Ra, to our world. CLE, our schedule for today, Sunday at noon Isra time, afternoon lesson.